a state of being that we are trying to attain. There's a state of being we are trying to work towards. And the only way to come to a state of being is to have a great sense of our nothingness, to have a great sense of our ability to surrender and take in energy only for one reason. That you take it in, it goes in deeper and deeper and deeper inside. And the deeper it goes inside, the more it allows us to open to this great unconscious. And everyone who has had any kind of life at all, the things that have been remarkable for you, the blessings that have come in your life, the greatest quantities that have come in your life, have not come from your consciousness, they have come from your unconsciousness. You suddenly found yourself in a certain place and it happened. These are all states of being that are trying to connect you to your real karma, to the chance of a depth of surrender where this existence is. And it's our physical life, it's really our emotional life, it's our cumulative materialization that blocks us, because we get blinded by this level, this physical material level, and we can't open to the state of being. And only when we surrender and surrender and surrender, if we keep this shaft open, it's like a great well that is inside us, underneath us, just like any other well. It is under the physical strata. So a man has his unconscious locked underneath the rock and the stone and the earth of all the treasures, all the material wealth in the world, is in your ground. And it's what you open to. And if you open to a gold mine in yourself, you are not open to this water, which really will attract the water up there. And you really will become exactly what you surrender to inside yourself. So that you open to this underground in the unconscious and you attract that in the higher cosmic atmosphere. And you see this. There are people who have learned how to mine inside the earth for great treasures. And they have money coming out of their ears. It does not make for happiness. It does not make for pleasure. It does not make for living. They can't love. They are so congested in every way, shape, and form by this one thing that they have managed to attain. It is that at the expense of everything else. Whereas if you really open in your depth and you keep feeding the unconscious because of your sense of humility, your sense of consciousness, which knows it is less than that which you can, within yourself, handle, in any way that has value. So you surrender to your level of capacity, to this deeper level of consciousness in your unconscious, and you keep that open. So that you work, as you feel the energy rising in you, the spiritual force comes in, it starts to come out, it is directing you. It is not your will on it, it is your surrender to it, that you keep feeding it by surrendering and surrendering and surrendering. And you build up inside yourself this deep energy inside, internalizing everything. Somebody comes, you open and you love them. You don't try to think, are they a right person? Are they a wrong person? Do they do this? Do they mean that? Because what you're relating to are all the characteristics that have to do with your prejudice and your background and your education and your sense of class and quality and race and money and all of this stuff, which has nothing to do with it. They may be exactly the chemistry that you need in your life. And you don't have to worry about it because you are protected by your total surrender. When you start playing games with it, then you're vulnerable because you'll get locked on one level of expression. It will come out here, it will come out here, it will come out somewhere else. I mean, the deepest things in my life were the rational quantities that I was afraid of, that I was able to surrender in transcending myself. I got above me, and because I got above me, I could sink down the shaft of surrender to me and everything that was resistance to it. And the flow that took place, this underground energy of our connection with something very, very high up, with this total cosmic energy, is a thing that allows you to succeed and flow through a situation which would kill any other human being. Because we are not using our intelligence, we're not using our sensitivity, we're not using anything of ourselves. We are being guided. We are being helped. We are being given everything in the cosmos to bring us through the situation. When you go to California. And so we are not working from ourselves. We are not, in a sense, in any way responsible. We have given ourselves over to something which we know is superior. And I lived my whole life this way, where rationally this thing couldn't be, it shouldn't be, it wasn't, and it really goes on and on and on. I came out of it smelling of roses, only because of the depth of my surrender. I irrationally surrendered. And because I irrationally surrendered, the flow from inside, came from a depth that really attracted a flow from very high out in the cosmos. And it connected. And so you live under God's grace, or you live in a state of being. And this is really what happens when somebody prays, when they get desperate. They surrender all of their defenses, and these layers and layers of physical structure, the land, the tensions, all the prejudice, all of the everything disappears. No different than a woman living in the backwoods in Africa or some crude, primitive place who will finally, out of desperation, against all of the superstition, all of the prejudice, all of the fear, bring her child into a doctor in a hospital of another race and another color. Because her instinct to save this child transcends all of the superstition and all of the fear. This thing allows her, the conditions externally force her to go deeply into the deepest possible thing, this thing of motherhood, which is a deeper quantity than all of the surface prejudice and fear and hate and the thing of being ostracized by the society she lives in. She's being forced deeply, deeply, deeply in herself. So when you, in yourself, feel you want the spiritual life, you really want that connection, and you don't want to think from yourself, you don't want to take off the surface, then you have to find a value, and the value should be your connection between yourself and God. And the only way to find is to rip out, in your surrender, all of the stupid garments, all of the fear, all of this, all of that, and you go in deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's like watching the earth open for you. And underneath is what? This energy which will come up and connect you with this thing which goes out into infinity. And so everything that you hear the rest of your life, everything that touches you the rest of your life, you should surrender in such depth that it does not bring up emotion or mind or resistance. You have to transcend resistance. So it goes in. That which cannot be assimilated in your higher consciousness, in your deeper unconsciousness, will burn up, and feed you. That which is needed will be stored in this extraordinary mechanism, this computer, that exists inside. And you begin to develop a mechanism for a higher spiritual life. It is never touched by you. The minute this force comes in and you start handling it and playing with it and saying, well, all right, let me look at this and then I will put it where it belongs. Bullshit. The minute you touch it, it's no different than a man and woman coming together and having a sexual relationship. You try to take it out to see what it looks like. This thing touches the air. There is no longer life in it. Creation is that which flows through a human being that is not touched. The minute anything of this world touches something of that world, it is destroyed. The molecularity, the capacity to give life, is that which is untouched by a human being. It is a state of being. It is between God and this depth in you that you cannot reach any other way. It is more than an act of faith. It is something which you are forced to because you wish to feel this connection between this higher cosmic thing, this thing of infinity, and something deeply within yourself. And it is your ability to grow with that, to connect with that, and transcend yourself every minute that really has to do with living in a higher possible level. Does anyone have a question? Yes.
Something is coming through. Once it comes through me, I have to put it on paper somehow to point